Our habits define who we are. Another concept to be discussed under personality development, habits. Habits are nothing but they are an acquired pattern of behavior. So how one behaves is shows what the person's habits are. See, we have both good and bad habits, okay? So bad habits are easy to acquire. And difficult to get away from. Good habits, vice versa. They're very difficult to acquire and very easy to get away from, right? So it is a structured, pattern of behavior. We should understand that habits are things that are being developed by us. We own, the onus falls on us. We own the responsibility of our habits. It doesn't come by birth. It doesn't come by heredity also. Understand? It is not by heredity. It's not the biological makeup. It is something that we acquire. It's developed by an individual. The practices, the deeds of an individual, what practice we do, what we practice becomes our habit. There's a very common saying which says, no man is bad. Yes, no man is bad. It's only his habit which decides whether he is good or he is bad. So based on your habit, if you do a good habit, you decided to be a good man. Bad habits, bad man. Good habits will lead to success. Bad habits will not let a person to be a successful person. It will make a person an unsuccessful person. Let me give an example. Why am I speaking so much about habits? Why habits are very important? Why is it important to inculcate a few habits? And why am I talking about good habits and bad habits? Why am I saying that habits are developed by an individual? And why am I saying no man is bad? It's only his habit that decides whether he's a good or a bad person. Let me give a very short example. An elephant was tied when he was very small. Okay, he was tied to a piece of wood when he was very small. So when his foot was, one of his leg was tied, he could only move towards a particular radius. He can only move around a particular radius, not more than that. But as he grew up, he was freed from his leg was freed. It was not tied anymore. The elephant was left free to wander. But the elephant still kept moving only to that particular radius and not more than that. Because he's so used to it. He's habituated to keep it only in that radius. That even when his legs were freed, he was not able to move forward because he is habituated to that. They tried so many ways to make the elephant move, but nothing proved fruitful. They even kept some food for him away from that boundary, hoping that he will move towards the food, but he didn't. So that is why I say habit is very important, because once we inculcate, once we practice our habit, it's very, very, very difficult, and it's going to be very tedious for us to let go of the habit. Just like how the elephant found it so very difficult to let go of the habit of staying within that particular range. Bad habits are dangerous. They bring in danger. They're not advisable. They bring in danger. They might give you temporary pleasure. It might give you temporary pleasure. It might not be a long lasting pleasure, but a temporary one. And it might be harmful, or it would be harmful always. So bad habits are not a permanent solution. Temporary pleasure, yes, it will be able to give us, but in the long run, it's very dangerous and harmful. Bad habits are not easy to get rid of. It's very easy to acquire bad habits, but to get rid of them, it is very difficult. Our habits shape our fortune and future. So, what our habits are, that will decide what our future would be. It will decide upon the fortune, what fortunes lay ahead. How the future is supposed to be shaped for an individual lies with the habits. Imprint on society. Our habits always leave an imprint on the society. Specifically, if it's a good habit, it will lie with the society for a long run, on a longer run, and you might become an inspiration to another person anytime. Good habits will make a person gentle, make the person peaceful, or give him peace, and it will also make the person a humble person. Good habits will always make the person gentle, give him enough peace to lead the life, and also will make the person a humble person. Let me share an example of a man who was looking for a groom for his wife. This man was looking for a groom, and there was a meeting that was arranged between this bride's father and the groom's father. So the bride's father talks to this man, and he gets to know that this man smokes a lot. Okay, so the groom's father says, "Okay, yeah, my son smokes often." And the father is shocked. He says, "Smokes? Why does he smoke, or when does he smoke? How often does he smoke?" This man says, "Yeah, he smokes whenever he takes non-vegetarian." The father was again in for a shock because he was a pure vegetarian. "He takes non-vegetarian," he says. And this man says again, "Yeah, of course, he does take non-vegetarian whenever he takes some alcohol." The bride's father was completely upset and he dropped the marriage proposal. Now, why I'm giving you this example is because one habit will lead to another. One bad habit will not, you cannot just say, "I only have this habit." Because one bad habit will lead to another. It's a chain. Bad habit is it's a chain, it's a procedure, it keeps going. One habit leads to the other. Decline in health. Bad habits lead to decline in health. I'm not just talking about physical health, but mental health also. Physical and mental. Physically and mentally, one will start becoming weaker if we are completely into bad habits. Generally, when we exercise, how do we grow muscles in our body? We do exercise. Constant exercises will help us gain muscle in our body, right? Similarly, you should constantly keep exercising your mind. How do you exercise? You exercise your mind with positive thoughts. When you exercise your mind with positive thoughts, you start developing a lot of good habits. So it's very important to keep exercising your mind very often. Bad habits are compared to sea waves. Any idea why they are compared to sea waves? Sea waves keep coming back. They keep coming back again and again. So sea waves are compared to bad habits, or bad habits are compared to sea waves, because it's not that you just get rid of them once. It is like, how much ever you want to stay away from them, they keep coming back to you again and again. So it completely lies in your hand as to how you keep, you are able to put up against the bad habits. Right? So let me take you through the habits once again. Habits are very easy to acquire, especially when it is a bad habit, and very difficult to let go of. Whereas if it's a good habit, it is very difficult to acquire and easy to let go of. Habits are developed. They are not hereditary. They are what an individual practices. No man is bad. Okay, it's a common saying. No man is bad. It's only the habits and the practices that the man, puts himself through, involves himself in, that decides whether he is a good or a bad man. Good habits will always lead to success, and bad habits will make a person unsuccessful. Bad habits lead to danger. They might give you temporary pleasure, but in the long run, they are always harmful. It is very easy to get rid of good habits, but it's not easy to get rid of bad habits. Your habits will shape your future and fortune. It leaves an imprint, especially your good habits leave an imprint on the society. It makes a person gentle, peaceful, and humble. One bad habit will lead to another. So never get involved in any bad habits because it's a chain procedure. It will also lead in decline of health. Decline of health, when I say that, I meant both physical and mental health. Bad habits will cause a lot of, apart from the physical issues, physical health issues, it causes a lot of mental health issues, depression. Because as I said, it might give you temporary pleasure, but in the long run, it's always harmful, both for your body and for your soul. Positive thoughts, good habits. When you have positive thoughts, automatically you start developing good habits because it's like an exercise. The more you start thinking positive, the more you become, you inculcate good habits. And bad habits, it's not that easy to stay away from bad habits. Reason being, bad habits are compared to sea waves. Now, sea waves keep coming again and again. They never stop. They keep coming again and again. Similarly, bad habits keep approaching us again and again. So it's completely up to a human being to decide whether to go ahead with good habits or bad habits. And there's absolutely nothing for heredity or biological makeup to do with habits. Habits is something that we decide to choose or we choose to follow on our own.
Pebbles Live.